Okay, well, it's lovely to have you all joining me today. You might want to find something to sit on. It could be a block, it could be some books, it could be a cushion, whatever feels good so we can get that long spine in the back. So we have been working through the 8 limbs of yoga, and we are now on number 6 in the series, and this is called Dharana. And Dharana means concentration or one-pointed focus. So I was doing a little bit of research, and some research suggests that in a day we have 60 to 100,000 thoughts just in a day. So that's crazy, right? 60 to 100,000 thoughts in a day. And as humans, we're always multitasking, right? Especially nowadays when we've got our phones or our computers, we're very rarely just doing one thing. And even if we are doing one thing, our minds might be somewhere else, and we're trying to think, well, what happens later? Or we're thinking about something that just happened. And our minds are just constantly and really chatting to us, right? So even when we talk to somebody else, right, and we're having a conversation, we're not always necessarily focused in what they're saying or in what we're saying, right? Maybe we're thinking about what we're going to say next, or maybe our mind wanders off to something else, right? We're very rarely just really focused. So Dharana is about really training the mind, right? It doesn't come naturally to us. We're human and we have that natural chattiness in our heads, that monkey mind. So it's about focusing the mind on one activity or on one object, and that's why we're going to use a candle later to focus on, or a plant or something. So if you might want to just grab something if you've just come in and you're a bit late. When we focus on one thing, it helps us to be fully present and focused on that activity or on that object, really noticing the details, paying attention. So you might find that you've experienced this concentration many times. Maybe you engage in art and you're an artist, right? And then when you're in that moment, that's probably like you're concentrating and you forget about everything else. And it's the same if you're gardening, maybe, if you love to garden, or sometimes if you're hiking in nature, right? Or you're reading a book or you play music. You lose yourself in that moment and your mind is not elsewhere. You're right there in that moment, right? So we're trying to make that happen even in mundane things that we do. So even when we're cleaning our teeth or washing up, can we really pay attention to what is happening in that moment? And really focus in. So that's what Dharana is about, where there's no disparity between actions and thoughts. They're together. And when we achieve this, and remember it takes practice, right? Sometimes it works more effectively than others, and sometimes it's for a very short time. It's okay, right? But when we actually achieve this, we're not reminiscing about the past or fretting about it. We're not fearful about the future, right? Our self-critic shuts down and we stop being so judgmental. There's no more like what ifs or if only. We're just here in the moment, paying attention to that moment. So that's what we're going to work on today in our class, and it's something to think about, as you move through the day as well. So we're going to relax through the shoulders. Hands can just rest on the legs. Sitting up super tall, as though you're your tallest self. Really see if you can lengthen even more than you've ever lengthened before. Just sitting up really tall. Shoulder blades coming in towards each other. And you want a comfortable seat. You don't want to be like, oh, this is so uncomfortable. You can build yourself up with cushions, anything that feels good. And then closing your eyes. And just checking in with this present moment. How are you feeling right now? So this could be, how are you feeling physically? It could be mentally or emotionally. Just notice. So remember, it's a non-judgmental observation. And then really paying attention to the connection of your body on the floor or whatever you're sitting on. Really getting curious. And about how your fingers are touching your legs. And maybe getting curious about the sounds that are around you. What sounds do you notice close by? And then those that get further away or that are further away. Bringing your attention to your breath. Before you even change it, just notice the quality of your breath. How are you breathing? Is it through your nose? Is it through your mouth? Is it slow? Are they long? Without judgment, just notice. And then we're going to slow the breath down, breathing through the nose. If you know Ujjayi breathing that we talked about a couple of classes ago, go ahead and breathe with Ujjayi breath, that constricted sound at the back of the throat. Otherwise, just through the nose. Long, slow inhales and exhales. Now we're going to start the class with a round of oms. So it's going to be a continuous sound of om. So what happens is you're just going to om, make the sound om. And once you need to take a breath, you take a deep breath in and then you repeat the sound. So you keep going. Now you don't need to, nobody's going to hear you, you're all on mute. So you're just going to hear me. Usually when we're in a class, maybe we all feel those vibes together. But even so, just noticing the energy and the vibrations that om make. And see if you can keep your focus on the sounds, right? On the sounds, on the vibrations. If your mind wanders, that's okay, you're human. Just bring it back. So you can bring the hands to heart center if you like. And we're going to keep the eyes closed if it feels good. We'll take a deep inhale here, and then to start. Finish off this final om. And just pause for a moment, just sitting with those vibrations, with those sounds. And then when you're ready, you can gently gently open your eyes, remove whatever you're sitting on. We're going to come onto our knees. So if you need to, you can grab something to place under the knees. Give yourself a bit more comfort. You can have the toes tucked, or you can just let them go, your choice. Inhale. We're going to reach the arms all the way up, interlacing the fingers, pressing the palms up to the sky. And then we're just going to move over to the left side, or whichever side you like. It doesn't matter, we're going both ways. Inhaling up and exhaling, coming the other direction. So again, really focusing as you inhale, coming up and going one more the other direction. Focus on the sensations in your body, on your breath. Inhaling up, exhaling the other way. If a thought comes into your mind throughout this class, just notice it, observe it, and see if you can bring yourself back to the present. Pressing hands up a lot, interlacing hands behind you, pressing down and back, opening through the chest here. But you're lifting up, you're not crunching through your back. Excellent. Coming up. And we're going to bring the top of the head down to the ground. Arms are going to come up and over. So you might find that if you've got tight shoulders, you might need to bring your hands further away. Maybe you've got a strap or a sweatshirt or something to hold between your arms in order to give yourself a bit more space here. If you want to release the hands, you can grab onto maybe the heels and find a little bit, or maybe just somewhere on the legs, and just bring yourself to the top of the head. You're being very gentle with your neck. It's just almost like a little mini inversion here. Inhaling, coming on up. You're going to come onto hands and knees for a moment. You can bring the right arm out to the side, and you're going to tuck it under so the shoulder comes down to the ground. You can take your left hand, placing it on your lower back, or you can wrap it around, grabbing onto your right side and opening up the shoulders. So you're stacking the shoulders. Breathing here. Deep breath. Noticing where your mind is. Not beating yourself up, not judging yourself, just gently bringing it back to the present, being in this moment and each moment that follows. Inhale, coming on up. You're going to take your left hand arm out, and then you're tucking it, but you're placing it between your knee and your hand, and your shoulder of the left arm is coming down to the ground. Right arm up, and then you're wrapping it, grabbing onto that left leg, stacking the right shoulder over the left, opening up. Breathing here. Again, the hand can just come to the back if that feels good. Coming back through center. And we're going to sit back on the heels here. Great. And maybe we're just going to lift up through the knees. So you're just on your toes here. You can even bring your hands to heart center. It's really hard. It's a balance. And it just depends how our body is. Everybody's bodies are different. So this might be easy, this might be hard. Just notice. Excellent. Coming back up. We're going to come back onto our knees, reaching the arms up. The left arm can come down. Now it can either touch the heel of that foot, or you can just bring it to the lower back. The right arm stays up. We're just doing a little back bend again, just being gentle with your lower back. No crunching. Lifting and opening the heart. Inhale, calming on up. Again, you can just have your hand to the lower back and reach back, or you can bring it down to the heel, opening up here. Inhale, arms come back up, the tops of the feet coming down, sitting down on the heels. It might feel uncomfortable. Hands to heart center. So Removing any cushion if you have it, you're just leaning back, lifting through the knees. Deep breath. Again, notice, how does this feel? Notice the stories your mind is trying to create here. And just see if you can let them go. Knees are going to come down. Hands come behind you, fingers just pointing towards your body, and you're just lifting up through the hips, opening through the chest. Again, just being gentle, we're just starting out. Excellent. Then the hips come down, butt down to the feet. Inhaling, arms come up, interlacing them, pressing them up into the sky. Excellent. One more time, just leaning over to the left. You can even be up on your knees, up off your knees again, or off your butt. Inhaling up and going the other direction. Coming to center, hands to heart center, and we're just placing them back down on the ground. Tucking the toes, we're coming into a downward facing dog. So we can bend the knees any amount, lengthening through the back, finding your pose. So those knees can be bent any amount. The most important is having that length from the wrists all the way up to your sit bones, and breathe. You can find a bit of movement here if you like, bending one knee and straightening the other and switching sides. You can maybe find a little twist if you like. You can take your right hand to that left leg, looking under your left armpit. And then finding the other direction. Excellent. Walking the feet step by step up to the hands, and then just let yourself hang. So you can bend your knees any amount, making a sandwich of your chest to knees. Bringing them as close as you can. You can grab behind the shins and pull yourself in. Your head can be heavy. You can shake your head no. You can nod your head yes. So this here is an inversion. Just breathing. Deep inhales, deep exhales, and notice how it feels. Arms are going to reach out to the sides. We're going to come onto the balls of the feet, lifting through the hips, and slowly trying to come up. So it requires some focus, some concentration. You might be wobbly, that's okay. Lifting the arms up. Excellent. Still on the balls of the feet, reaching high, and then exhaling. The heels come down, hands to heart center. We're going to come into a tree pose. So you're going to lift the right leg, the toes can be down, so it can be in a kickstand, and that's absolutely fine. Bring it under the knee, or above the knee. So it's quite a challenging pose for some of us if we have difficulty balancing. You can always use a wall if you need to give yourself some stability. And you can stay here if this is challenging, or you can bring your arms up to the air. And again, you can bring your gaze up to the ceiling, or you can have it focused down. So the more you lift your gaze, the harder it is. And then see if you can work on Dharana, concentration. So focus. Maybe at first it's easier, and then it gets harder to be here. So focus on that breath, slow it down. Notice the wobbles or any of those things. Maybe focusing on a particular point, whether it's on the ceiling or on the ground. That drishti that gives you that focus. Breathing here. You've got this. Even if you're wobbling or falling down, it's a practice. It's about not beating yourself up. It's about coming back to it. Keep working on it. Don't give up. Excellent. Hands are going to come to heart center. Just noticing, I'm just turning here so you can see me, but noticing how that leg, the standing leg feels, right? It's challenging. You're going to lift that right leg up in the sky and then kicking it back. So warrior 3 here, the toes coming down on that lifted leg, trying to keep the hips even. And then that foot coming back behind you. Inhale, arms reach all the way up. You're going to drop the left arm and just come over to the side. So you're doing a nice side stretch here. I'll show you from the front. You're just reaching over. Inhale, coming up. And you're going the other direction. Reach. Inhaling to center. You're going to find your way into warrior 2. So that back foot turns out 90 degrees, arms reaching out. The left knee pressing towards the left side a little bit to protect your knee. You don't want your knee to go beyond your ankle. So we're going to bring the left arm up and bend through that elbow. You can help to pull the fingers down the back a little bit if you like. And then that right hand might come to meet it. If it doesn't meet it, grab onto clothing, grab onto a strap, or maybe just staying here is all good. Breathing wherever you are. Again, finding your concentration, finding your focus. Maybe your mind wants to run away. See if you can bring it back. Deep breaths. Excellent. One more breath here. You've got this. And then releasing the arms, reaching them out. Just notice how they feel. Checking that they're even. Inhale, reaching forward, finding length from that back, the back edge of the foot, all the way up to the armpit of that right arm. And then you're going to bring that left hand down. Right arm can come down and up, opening, twisting the chest up to the sky. Any variation you like here. So arms can come up and down. You can come into a bind, finding what works for you. Excellent. Finding that focus, that concentration. Deep breath. Releasing here, coming on up. You might want a block or books or something. We're going to come into a half moon, Ardha Chandrasana. So that back foot is lifting. Bringing the toes in towards your body. Lifting up, finding that balance. Letting it be okay if you fall. It's part of learning. And you just notice some days are easier to balance than others. Some days are much harder. It's the same with concentration. Some days we're much more focused, and other days it's a lot more challenging. That leg comes back down. Here we go. We're going to bring the hand to the hips, turning the back foot in, or the toes out rather, coming into our goddess pose. Elbows coming out, cactus, sitting down just a little bit more. Now we're going to turn on the left ball of the foot, and we're going to drop that knee towards the ground, but not quite getting there, so we're almost in a lunge. Inhale, coming back up, sitting down. And then we're going the other way on the ball of that right foot, knee coming down towards the ground, not quite getting there. Inhale, coming up. Excellent. Right arm down, left arm reaches. Inhale, coming up. And we're going the other way. Inhale, coming up, lifting up, arms coming out, back toes coming back in. So they're a 90-degree angle with the front foot. Inhale, reaching, dropping the arm, coming into triangle. So we don't want to go all the way down to the ground if it means the butt is coming out, sticking out. We want to be in one plane. Breathing here. You can take that top arm, wrap it around the back, maybe grabbing around that left thigh, maybe reaching that left arm up, parallel to the ground. Deep breath here, maybe looking up with the gaze up to the sky, and inhale, calming back up, hands to hips. We're coming onto the ball of that back foot, lifting up, squeezing that leg in, taking a moment, getting length through the back, pausing, finding that focus one more time, and release. Mountain pose, feet hips distance apart, palms away from you, closing those eyes if it feels good. Slowing the breath down, slowing the heartbeat down. You've got this. Staying focused. Keeping the mind here, even if it wanders. I'm thinking about this. But I'm going to bring my mind back to the present. Opening the eyes. We've got the other side to do. We're going to come into our tree pose. So we're lifting through the left leg this time. Again, you can find any variation that works best for you. You can use a wall, just noticing what you need. So you can stay with hands at heart center and with a gaze at something on the floor that doesn't move. Or you can bring your arms up, gaze up, focusing your gaze on a single point that doesn't move. And then breathing here, because we're going to just be here for a few breaths. Notice the challenge. It's okay if you fall or if your leg gets tired. Just see if you can concentrate on this moment regardless of what's happening. Be present. Excellent. One more breath here. You've got this. And then we're lifting up through that leg. You're stepping it back. Oh, behind you, we're coming in. You've got your arms up this time, actually. We're coming up, lifting into a warrior three. So that back leg is up. Trying to keep the hips even. And then that leg steps back behind you. Finding that balance, breathing, finding that stability. And the stability of your body and the stability of your mind. That left arm is going to come down. You're reaching over to that side, the left side. Inhale, coming up. And exhale, the other direction. Coming back to center. Hands can come into heart center for the moment. We're going to move from here into a warrior two. So the back heel turns and comes down to the ground so our feet are perpendicular to each other. Bending that front knee over the ankle but not beyond it. Right, the knee pressing to the right side. Arms can reach out. This time the left arm is going to come up, bending through the elbow, fingertips coming down, and you can stay here. Opening through that shoulder, or the right arm can come down and reach up towards those fingers. Maybe they grab some clothing. Once you're here, breathing. Finding that focus, that concentration. Notice the details of what's happening in your body at this moment. Releasing through the arms. We're going to reach forward, finding length from that back edge of the foot to the armpit. Right arm comes down. Left arm can come down and up alongside the ear. Reaching, finding that length. And then any variation, you can drop the arm. You can continue to reach overhead. Or you can find a bind. There's not a right way to do this pose or a wrong way to do this pose. Just finding what works for you and your body in this moment. Some days something might work and some days it might not. Breathing here. Deep breaths. Inhale, calming on up. Maybe grabbing something like a block. You might not have one, you can use books, or just using the floor, that's fine. Finding your stability first is the challenge. Toes coming in, lifting up, and then maybe lifting an arm, lifting the gaze, maybe or maybe not. Breathing wherever you are. Making sure you're being kind to yourself. You're not judging yourself or giving yourself a hard time if a pose is difficult. And then calming back down. Warrior two. Lengthening through that front knee. Little micro bend in there so that you're not locking that knee out. Reaching forward again, finding length. The arm comes down and up. Tick-tocking them in opposite directions. The left arm can come to the back, or you can grab onto that right thigh. And then the right arm can come out, parallel to the floor if that feels good. Breathe. Calming on up. We're turning the heels in towards each other. Knees coming over the ankles or the heels. Goddess pose. Taking a breath, sitting down, noticing how this feels in your body. And then you're turning on the back balls of the feet, knee dropping towards the ground. Inhale, coming back through center, sitting down. And then turning on the ball of the other foot. Dropping the knee, but not quite dropping it, or it's up to you. Inhale, back to center, sitting down. Reaching the arms up, legs straightening. And we're just coming back towards the front, warrior two. Hands on hips. Turning on the ball of that back foot. Lifting up. Knee coming in. Finding length through the back. And then the foot can come down. Palms facing away from you. Closing the eyes. Calming the body. Calming the mind. Slowing the heartbeat down. And the breath. And then gently opening the eyes when you're ready. So we're going to come into an inversion here, and there's lots of choices. So there's no need to feel intimidated or like something's challenging. So here are the choices. If you don't have a wall, you can just come down to the ground, bringing your legs up the wall. So there's one option. You can also, if you have wall space, you can do it on the wall, or You can come into, if you have wall space, you can come into a handstand against the wall, but backwards. So you walk your legs up, and then you're bringing your hands towards the wall any amount. So always being really careful here, making sure there's nothing around you that can get damaged, including yourself. And jumping down is the hard bit of that, because you're close to the wall. So you might need to walk your hands out a bit. The other thing that I'm going to teach as an option here is headstand. So the reason I love inversions is it really helps to concentrate, because when you're upside down, particularly in headstand or handstand, you don't really have the mental space to be thinking of anything else. You're just noticing what's happening in the moment, or you're just concentrating on doing what you're doing. So it means that you end up really being focused and concentrating, and this Dharana really works. So that's why I'm teaching it here. So for headstand, I would suggest using the wall behind you, unless you're really, you've got this practice down. And then what I like to do is I like to make, to check the distance of my elbows. So I kind of curl my fingers around the elbows and I place them on the ground. I'm trying to make an equilateral triangle. So I check my elbows and then I interlace my fingers. So I should have an equilateral triangle. What happens when we go up is sometimes people's elbows end up coming out and they've lost their stability. So you want to bring your elbows in towards each other, right? But they've got to, this is how we measure, or this is how I like to measure. Then we bring the head down towards the ground, just in front of the hands, and you're walking yourself up so that you're on the top of your head and your hands are kind of essentially supporting your head, the back of your head. And then you can play. Maybe you just pick up one foot or the other, right? And if you've got a wall behind you, you know you've got a bit of stability. What's really important here is you're pressing the ground away with your arms and pressing into the ground with your arms. So you're really getting stability here. And then once you're ready, there's lots of options. If you bring your legs forward and back, then you've got your center of gravity is much lower than if you have your legs up to the sky. So you can play here. It's a practice like with anything else, and a lot of it's to do with fear. So if you can get over that fear, obviously if you have neck issues, this isn't what you want to do. Maybe go for the handstands or the legs up the wall. So playing, I'm happy to answer any questions or help anybody after class if you need a little bit more direction on this inversion, and you can do any inversion that you like here. So just playing, maybe for another minute or two. So again, it's all about the stability with your arms. It's about bringing yourself on top of your head and rolling up. You're trying to get your hips up above your shoulders as you roll. So if you can get your hips up above your shoulders, you've got very little work to have to do to lift up one foot. It becomes a lot easier. So really obviously being careful, being thoughtful to your body, making sure you can't kick anything when you come down, you're not going to hurt yourself. And if you've got that wall, it gives you that stability. And that helps you to give you a bit of support so you don't feel so scared. Okay. So obviously you can stay in that for as long as you like. We're going to come down to the ground for a moment. And we're just going to come into a nice twist. So we'll bring that right leg in, left leg is out, toes coming in here. Reaching up with the left hand. The right hand is going to be your kickstand here. And you're just going to come into a nice twist. So you're going to press that knee away as you twist here, keeping toes active. You can bring that foot across your body if that feels better. You can also bend the other leg if that feels good. Just listening to what your body needs. Inhale back through center, a little micro twist the other way, and we'll just switch sides. So bringing that left foot in, again you can cross it over if you prefer, up to you. Left hand coming down behind you, right arm up, and you're just twisting, activating the toes of that lengthened leg, twisting the other way. Inhaling, you're getting tall. Exhaling, a little twist. And then coming back to center. Knees can come in. You can lean back again. You can have hands here. You're just lifting up through those feet, keeping length through your back. And maybe you might even come into your Navasana, your boat pose here. We're going to lower down, hover. Inhaling, coming up. Exhaling, hovering here. Inhaling, coming up. One more time. Excellent. And then this last time, we're just going to come down, and we can just slowly allow the legs to come down, the body to come down. Just feel the ground beneath you. Taking a couple of breaths. Shoulders pressing down. So we're going to just quickly turn onto the belly here, and we'll do one exercise on the belly. So you're going to bring your head down, and then we're going to lift the knees, the legs up, the arms up, and we're just going to move arms and legs. So we can do it fairly rapidly, we can breathe. Again, just being in the moment, even if it's not fun or it's uncomfortable, just seeing if you can be here rather than trying to escape with your mind. Breathing here. Deep breaths, you're nearly there. And then the hands come down, one on top of each other, forehead down. Release. Letting go. Notice the sensations in your body, the speed of your breath. Slow it down. Excellent. Turning. Or you can stay on your back for the moment. You're going to just grab onto the ankles as one option and just lifting up. Ankle or knees are going to come towards each other. If that doesn't work, you're just lifting up arms and legs. Finding this is a great variation. Your choice. And release. Letting go. Turning onto your back. And we're just going to bring the feet in towards the butt, pressing shoulders down into the ground. I'm going to take the right foot, and the ankle can just come over the left leg. So figure of four here. Activating the toes on that lifted foot. And we'll bring the hands on either side of that left leg, interlacing fingers if that works, and just pulling that leg in towards you. So you're squeezing your legs into towards your top half of your body. And then if you like, you can lift through that left leg and finding any variation that you might like here. Deep breaths. Excellent. Releasing that left leg, bringing the right knee in towards your chest. Left leg can extend. squeezing in that right leg. Left leg can just hover if you like. And you're just going to then release through that left leg, right arm coming out to the side, crossing the right leg across your body. Nice spinal twist here. Your gaze can be up at the sky or over your right fingertips. Eyes can be open or closed. Deep breaths, staying focused, finding that concentration. Inhale, coming back to center, giving yourself a really nice squeeze here. And then you're coming with feet back down, hips width distance apart. Left ankle coming over that right knee. Pressing that left knee away from you. Foot is activated on that leg. Bringing hands either side of that right thigh. Squeezing everything in. Any variation you like, if you want to lengthen through that right leg, go for it. And then you're going to release through the legs. You can bring that left leg in, right leg just hovering for a moment. Squeeze and lift, feeling a little bit of core work here. And then releasing through that right leg. Left knee can come across the body. Left arm can come out perpendicular to your body. Your gaze can be up at the ceiling or over your left arm. Breathe and find that concentration, that focus. It's so good for us just to pay attention to what's happening in the now. And then calming through center, giving yourself a big squeeze here. You can roll from side to side, giving yourself a little back massage. Maybe you can even bring your knees out in circles going in opposite directions. So the knees are coming away from each other and then towards each other. And then maybe go in the other direction. And then we're just going to bring the legs down, coming into Shavasana. So your shoulders are just pressing down into the ground. The palms are face up and they're coming away from your arms are coming away from your body about 30 degrees or as much as you like. There can be more. Your feet are at least max width distance apart. The toes are just falling to both sides. And just everything just releasing. You can scan your body from your toes up to your head and just make sure that there's no areas that continue to be tense. If they are, you can feel free to shake anything out. Any shaking or movement, just letting it go. And you can take a deep inhale through the nose. And a big exhale with sound if it feels good. So let it out the mouth. You can do 2 more of those. Inhale through the nose. Exhale mouth. 1 more. And then just allow yourself to melt into the mat. There is nothing you need to do here at all. You can let go of control of your breath. Let go of any other control. You're just going to be here. slowly finding a little bit of movement in your physical body. So you can just maybe move fingers or toes, maybe also finding some movement in the wrists or ankles. And then you can reach up overhead, getting length from toes all the way to fingertips. Bringing knees into your chest, giving yourself an unconditional hug. You deserve it, you are worth it. Really being there for yourself, having your back. And then rolling onto your right side, you can use your right arm as a pillow if you like. Fetal pose, just noticing the ground there to support you. And then you can gently press yourself up into a seated pose. So we're going to come into a final little meditation here. If you have a candle, you can light your candle. If you don't have a candle, you can use anything. You can use a plant, you can look at your hand, you can look at something with a pattern like a cushion, anything just with detail in it. And it doesn't have to have a lot of detail, just have a little bit. So you're just finding. So once you have your candle lit, if you have a candle, which may work or may not work, okay. So once you have that working, the idea is you're going to stare at your candle with, or whatever it is, it can be your hand. You're just going to stare at it with slightly bug eyes. So you're going to look at it, you're sitting up straight, you're going to stare at it, and if your eyes start to tear up, don't rub them, or try not to blink as well. And if you need to, if it's too much, you just cover your eyes with little cups and just take a break. But you're staring, you're paying attention to the detail. We're not here for very long. So you just breathe and you really notice. You're looking at that blue part of the flame if you're looking at a flame. And you're just watching it. Just notice if your thoughts wander, then just notice that and bring them back to the candle or whatever it is that you're focused on. You can continue to have deep breaths through the nose or use Ujjayi breath. Really trying to keep your concentration. Remembering, if it's difficult, that's normal, we're human. Just notice and bring your attention back. Every moment is an opportunity to start again. This might be really hard for you. We're not used to just stopping and concentrating. Give yourself the gift of just giving it a go anyway. Keep going, you're nearly there. Just breathe and focus and concentrate. Training your mind, just like we train a dog. Repetition, practice. Last 30 seconds. It's okay if tears start to come, just let them drop. And then closing your eyes, just seeing if you can see whatever it was that you were focused on in your mind's eye. And focus on that just for a few breaths. And then making sure that the candle's not going to get knocked down with any movement, bringing hands to heart center, eyes can be closed. We're going to inhale, reaching out to both sides and all the way up, hands touch at the top. Really concentrate and notice how it feels having those hands connect. And then bringing the hands to heart center, pressing the thumbs into the sternum here. Notice that connection. Inhale, reaching out and up, really intentional movements, feeling those arms move in every detail, hands touch. And exhale, hands to heart center. Pay attention. Inhale, reaching out, feeling that movement, feeling the stretch all the way up and touch. Exhale, hands to heart center. So maybe considering whether you might want to move through the day a little bit with more focus, more dharana, concentration in each thing that you do. And then finding some gratitude for yourself for taking the time for your mind and your body today. And bringing the hands up to the third eye center. It's been a pleasure guiding you all through your practice. Thank you so much for your energy that you brought to class today. Even though we might be far, we're all still connecting and it's wonderful. Thank you and namaste.